Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see about the introduction to SQL. Actually, what is SQL is structured query language. So as the name implies, it is a query language. Then what is query language means? It can question the database. Actually, it can question the database to get some answer from the database, and it is a structured one. That means everything has some syntax and format. It is a structured query language. Okay, so now here we have some components of structured query language, and before that we will see what is the definition. It's a standard programming language to access and manipulate the database. So database is a collection of records. Next slide we will see what is database, and then it allows the user to create, retrieve, alter and transfer information among the databases. We want to create a database, then you have to get the information from the database, you have to change the database for some reason, and sometimes we wanted to transfer data from one table to the other table. So these are all the process that can be done in a database. So for these functions, structured query language has many commands to help doing this process. Now let us see what is database. So database is a collection of tables. I have given the structural diagram for database. So here database is a collection of tables. And what is a table? It is a collection of rows and columns. Then what is a row? That is, or a record? It is an entity. It's a row value. Okay, and then what is a column? That is the field. So that is the attribute names. That means coming from bottom to top, you can just have a hierarchy. Collection of fields makes one record, then collection of records make one table, then collection of table makes a database. Okay, so now fields are the attributes, are the column names. Like for example, you see a student database as name is one column, is an attribute, age is another attribute, it's another column, then date of birth, place, religion, community. So everything is an attribute. And then what is the record is about one, the entity, the whole information about the entity. About a student, all the values, the student name, register number, age, date of birth, all those things. That is a row. And then when you say a table, it's the rows and columns. So all information about a set of students in your class, that makes one table. Likewise, all the tables of different classes, for example, say BSc, BCA, A, B, C, BA first year, second year, third year, individually everything is a table, and all those table forms a database. This is the hierarchical structure for a database. Now let us see what is RDBMS. RDBMS is Relational Database Management System. Here, as the name implies, this database management system deals with the relations. What is relations means? All the tables. Okay, so it is a language designed for managing and accessing data in a relational database management system, shortly called RDBMS. Some examples are given: Oracle, MySQL, MS SQL Server, IBM DB2, Microsoft Access are the RDBMS packages. Okay, so now here under this SQL we have three different parts. Okay, so data definition language, data manipulation language and data control language. Now let us see what are all the processing skill of this SQL. So here in SQL we can define the data, that is the data definition language. What is definition is, we can define a structure, a schema. That means you can make a format. You can say a table consists of these many rows, these many columns, the column sizes, the column values, if it is a numeric or character, or likewise you can give the structure for the various fields of the table, and then we can delete the relations. Once you create a table, if you don't want further, you can remove the table, that's the relation from the database, from the table. And then creating indexes. What is creating indexes is, By the index, we have a faster search. Take for example, you are having a book. You wanted to see some information about a particular topic. What you will do, you cannot go by pages and pages to find out where the word or the content is. You will directly go to the index page. Then index page will find out for this word which is the page number. Then we'll go to the page number. Then you search. That is called the index. So index always helps in faster access. And then modifying the relation schemes. What is modifying is, I have defined one structure for a database or a table. Then I wanted to change the database, add some field, delete some field. So that is called as an modifying the relation schemas. Okay. So these all come under the data definition language. Now coming to this data manipulation language, as the name implies, it manipulates. What is a manipulation? You can insert some data, you can delete some data, you can modify some data. Okay, so here we can insert some rows of information into a particular table of a student information. Suppose new students have joined the course, I am adding the information of those students, that is inserting. Some students left the class, they are leaving the school. I want to remove the table values of those students, that is the delete function. And then modifying the tuples is a particular what is a tuple is a record. Then modifying the tuple is some changes may happen, some may change the phone number, the address may change. So those things comes under the modification. Okay, so these are all the data manipulation language. And then embedded data manipulation language. What is embedded data manipulation languages? We can use the high level programming language. In that we can get data from the SQL. That means we are putting a part of this SQL into the high level language program, that is called an embedding. Okay, so we can make some like insertion, deletion or modifying tuples. Those commands can be put inside a high level programming language to connect the programming, that is a front end, to the back end, the database where the database is stored. That is called as an embedded data manipulation language. So these are the languages which helps to access the database and process the information. And then next, the processing skills continues. There are also some more processing skills of SQL, more other than all the previous things what you have seen. View definition. What is view definition is, actually I am having a big table. Okay, so I wanted to, for example, the table consists of so many attributes. The attributes may be some 20 or 25. Okay, but in the particular unit of time, I wanted to see only some few attributes. Okay, so and here suppose I wanted to know only the name of the student and what marks he has scored in the first semester. So that may be some 4 or 5 fields. Okay, that is called as a view definition. I can create a part of the table. It is a temporary. Okay, it won't affect the real storage. It is only a view. It's a logical view by which we can view some part of the data for some convenience. I cannot see all the fields in a particular on a screen. The screen is not big enough to show all the fields of the table if it is big. So I have to limit the number of fields. That all comes under the view definition. They are all the temporary part of the table or a database, and then we can, this is only temporary thing, it is a logical view we can say. And then authorization. What is authorization is, I cannot give, the database cannot be given access for all the users to all the rights. So what are the rights? You may create, you can update, you can insert. So everything cannot be given to all the users. The users are limited to some limited access. For example, only the administrator can delete the database or delete the table, while the user can only view or make some changes in the table content. So that is called as an authorization, is some specific rights given to specific people during specific time. That is called as an authorization. And then integrity. What is integrity is, the SQL provides forms for integrity checking using the condition. Like here, I can have a check on the particular data itself. For example, I can say age of a student lies between some 5 to 25. I can fix some range That is then integrity checking. Okay, so I can make some integrity on the data having some constraints while using the SQL definition itself. And then transaction control language. What is transaction control languages? The SQL includes commands for the file transactions and control over the transaction processing. That means I can make the changes, I can update the data, I can the command actually the I can roll back the data, I can commit the transaction. So that all comes under the file transactions. The files can be transferred, they can be inserted, they can be used to transfer data. So those are all the control over the transaction processing. So these are all the processing skill of an SQL. So with the help of this SQL, we are able to process the database to our convenience to get our work done in an efficient manner. Hope you understood the concept of this the idea behind this structured query language, and thanks for watching.